Anybody who is joining us on Facebook Live or on Instagram, you'll see we're going to start in about 7 minutes. That'll be at about 5:18 or so for people showing up at 5:15. You can start warming up, getting yourself ready. We will start when the bell goes off. If you're going to go get a snack, now is the time.
For the hotspot? Probably just kind of cool. Is it? So my phone is an incident? You sure? Oh, you're right. Mm-hmm. You're right. Right.
And it went to whatever the top notification was, and now the thing's gone.
Yep. Sure. We tell people what they're watching. A whole bunch of new people have come on and they're just staring at a clock. If you guys are just joining us here, the thing you're staring at, we are not broken. That is the countdown until class is starting. So we will be starting our live jiu-jitsu stream in a little over 2 minutes. So those of you who are just joining us, just get yourself a little warmed up, get yourself ready for class. So we will be back with you in a little over 2 minutes.
45 seconds behind. Just for you to know. Actually, no, it just jumped up. It's 15 seconds, 20 seconds behind. No, it's just like it should have.
You can flip it now. People don't need to watch the clock.
Sit right now. So you want that? I'll take care of the technology. You guys want that?
I have one. Do you know this? We have the same thing every Tuesday. I will have it. Wait, no, I do it too.
And hello everybody, welcome to Upper West Side Kenshi Kai at home. We are about to start our jiu-jitsu class in about a moment, just getting everything finished, set up, getting all the electronics going the right way. Those of you that are seeing us here on Facebook, and some of you are on Instagram, if one of them starts to go on you, then, I'll take care of it in a second. One of them starts to go, you can go find us on the other. So either the UWS Kenshi Kai at home page on Facebook, or you can go to the UWS BJJ Instagram page overall. And careful with it. You should not flip a button. Okay. So I'm going to ask you guys at home, if you have a partner to do this with, then you don't have to do anything. If you are by yourself, before we get started, go find yourself anything like a broomstick or anything like that. For some of the techniques we're going to do later, you're going to be able to do some of the movements with something like this. And so go find yourself something like that if you're by yourself. If you have a training partner there, then you're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. And we'll have fun. Okay. So, two partners here, face each other. And let's warm ourselves up. Those of you at home, you can join us with the warm-up drills, which you should all be able to do by yourself or with a partner. Seated back great folds together. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. We're all falling to our right. So Maya will go to the mirror, Jennifer will come towards the red wall, and I will go towards this corner. And 1, 2, 3. Other way. 1, 2, 3. Curl yourself into a ball and roll the ball, balancing on your shoulders. Go. Hover up here for a moment. Come back down. Good. On your own, you don't need to be coordinated with your partner or with us. And going into triangles, locking your knee over your ankle. If there's anyone out there who these warm-up drills are unfamiliar to, just watch the first one or two and copy them. Any people who've done jiu-jitsu before, much of this will be familiar. Those of you that have done jiu-jitsu with us, obviously, it's going to all be very familiar. And down, and bridges left and right. Go. Try to get those hips up towards the ceiling. Open up your back and your core on each one. Very nice. down, palm of the legs, big circles, go. And change directions, go. And down, scoot back a little bit from each other. And we're gonna put ourselves into our S sit position, go ahead. And S sit, so alternate left and right. And now, we didn't do this in the last class, if you followed us then, we're going to do our S sit into our get up. So the idea is we'll fold in front and then roll over the front shins, stepping forward towards each other. If you're with a partner, give yourself enough room that you don't end up face smashing each other on each step up. Yeah, big step, go over the full folded leg and step forward. Yep, couple more. And stop. Very good. Let's warm up our hands. So if you know the warm up of the hands on your own, go ahead. If not, watch here. We're starting off going 10 finger grip or S grip, going from here to palm or gable grip, covering our watch, covering our fist, going to our elbows, going to our figure 4, back to our elbows, back to our fist, back to our watch, back to our palms, back to our fingertips. Flip the fingertips. On each one, give a small pull, warming up these parts of our hands, elbows and arms. Continue on your own, going through all the grips. If you have any other grips that you like, butterfly grip, things like that, go ahead. But the goal is to warm up our hands and our wrists, forearms and elbows. Keep on going. Excuse me, going off camera every so often just to make sure everything is still in frame and everything is still working out. Very good. So while they finish warming up here, or actually when we move on to the next drill, I'll explain a little further. We're going to do a normal beginning of class. We're going to do a couple of drills. So at Upper West Side Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, we tend to do the drilling, the kind of warm-up drilling part of class, not the regular drilling part of class, not the part of class where I teach something, but the first section where we're still warming up. We do a couple variations. We sometimes just do the same drills. So now you two stop and let's go to Kimura grips, 2 for 2. Go ahead. Those of you at home, you can do the same Kimura grips here while you listen to the explanation about the next part of class. So we often do the next part of class with some form of free drilling, meaning that the students themselves get to pick what they're working on. Sometimes I'll say, okay, work on any escape. Then I'll say, okay, work on any advancement, meaning passing or getting to a better position. And then we'll say, okay, work on any submission. And then other times we say work on literally anything you want. It can be any technique in your range, anything that you want to work on. So this is up to you. You can do anything that you'd like when we have that, or we break it into these specific areas. Today, we're going to do shorter rounds where we do each one of the 3 categories: escapes, advancing, and submitting. Escaping, advancing, submitting. So 2 of them right now should start thinking about what escape they want to work on with each other. But before we do that, let's shift over to arm drags. So Jen, sit down. Maya, stay up. So when we're doing our arm drags now, whoever is lower should be the one attacking. So you'll see Jennifer here, grab the wrist, reach underneath, grab the elbow, drag Maya across, just get Maya's hands to the ground. Remember, we're still in the warm-up phase. This isn't even drilling a technique as much as it's a motion and the first bit of like body contact. Yeah. We'll do this for another 30 seconds and then we'll move on to our escape drills for the day. So you can escape from the mount, you can escape from the back, you can escape from side control, you can escape from a leg position, you can escape from anything that you'd like. Maybe if you want to be thematic, you could be working on an escape from a leg position today. Getting out of Ashigarami or getting out of the saddle or anything else that you want to work on. Excellent. And time. All right, working escapes 1 for 1, only for 2 quick minutes. And begin. So this round of drilling is only going to be 2 minutes long, so that means you need to keep on moving. One of the things that my instructor, Gene Dunn, references quite often is the idea of not having any wasted time in our training. Not to have downtime where you're just sitting and talking and watching someone else do the drill, but to be moving, getting the efficient use of your time. So, you know, right now we have lots and lots of time at home, but we don't necessarily have lots and lots of time to train our jiu-jitsu. In fact, for most of us, myself included, far less than we'd like. And so get the most efficient use of this time as possible. Keep on moving, keep on repping. When it's time to switch up and top and down, both as you see here, they're both doing the same technique. Different escape, but from the same position. When they're switching from top to bottom, that part should be done quickly. Not so fast that you plunk each other and all that. But notice they're getting like a lot of work done. By the time the 2 minutes are up, they're going to have each gone 7, 8, 9 times. Such an efficient use of time. If this was a technique that they're trying to polish or work with more detail, they go slower and kind of break it down piece by piece. But here the goal is to really just get into the reps. You guys should be doing that too. If you're working on this drill by yourself, cool, just keep on moving. 45 more seconds. You should get another maybe 3 or 4 in each. And now is when you should start thinking about what you want your next technique to be. When I say move on to your advancing, I don't want you sitting there going, you should already have it in your mind. So a knee slice pass if you want to work, over-under pass, any kind of pass that you'd like. But the idea with advancing is that you're getting from one position to a better one. So it could be a transition from the mount to the back, for example. It could be a transition from like half guard, passing over into side control. It could be going from like a regular ashi, transferring into a saddle if you want to consider that a more dominant position. Last 10 seconds. When the bell goes off, you can start switching positions right into the next thing you're going to do. And go ahead, next rep. What are we doing?
Backstepping.
Backstepping into the saddle. Cool.
You said
Yeah. Being thematic. So Jennifer here is working on her back step into the saddle position. We're going to discuss the saddle at length in a minute. But right now, this is what Jennifer's working on, one of the most standard entries into that saddle position. Okay. And here Maya is working on a different entry. It's actually one that specific one is one we're going to work on in a few minutes because it's kind of our most direct way to rep going into the saddle if you've never done it before. Maybe we'll actually get a chance to work on both of these entries into the saddle because they're both pretty straightforward, but incredibly useful. Alex Eklund from Master Sky just commented that was his very favorite escape, the elbow escape. Which is weird because I don't think I've ever seen him get mounted, so I have no idea when he actually practices that. Both doing great examples of these two entries. Another minute to go, last minute. And now you should start thinking about what submission that you would like to work on. Since we're going to work on it later, let's not do the heel hook from the saddle. Let's do kind of anything else. But yeah.
Totally reminded I was going to do.
Of course it was. But something else. You can maybe work on your regular heel hook. You can work on any other submission your doors with. Bend your knees a little bit lower before you sit, generally a lot easier. And try to scoop the outside of that knee with your knee. Last 30 seconds. Very good. Very good. Yeah. Much cleaner. Very nice. Yep. And you can finish up the drill that you're working on. Everyone at home. So whenever I say time or the bell is going off and you're in the middle or the beginning of a drill, unless it's a crazy long drill, keep going. Finish it off. It's silly to waste a rep just to buy yourself 3 seconds. Go ahead, finish the technique. If it's a long thing, go ahead. I often give a pause before I move on to the next thing so people can finish the thing they're doing. So now, any submission of any kind. Begin whenever you'd like. Go. You got 2 minutes. Any submission you like. Very good. Maya's working on the darce. Very nice. Maya, put your left hand, the secondary hand, on her shoulder. No, all the way up to her shoulder, on the other side of your head. Yeah. but right hand on the inside. Yeah. If your head can go over that way too, so it's almost like we're gonna make a choke. Through, and then head hook. Excellent, everyone. Remember, you can pause halfway, Jen, with that leg on the shoulder before you throw it over the head. Very nice, Maya. Yeah. Very good. Pull those elbows back to finish. So for those of you that are joining us late, we are in our open drilling part of class. Right now, two ladies out here are working on a submission. You can pick anyone you'd like. We're about to move on to the instructional portion of class, looking at a bunch of details and concepts behind the saddle position and the standard heel hook finish from the saddle. We will get there in a moment. "45 more seconds. Nice, Jen. And time. Very good. Okay. Yeah. So Jen, why don't you come on off the mat and you can just kind of check to make sure while I'm explaining this stuff that we're in frame on the camera and such. Will it be okay for me? Can you just check the Instagram one, Jen, right there, make sure we're both in frame?
You're a little off.
Cool. Was that better?
A little more. Maya, you're fine. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so we're going to look at the saddle, and you're in front of the screen. It's just a big old shot of Jennifer's ear. Okay, yes. So we are going to look at the saddle. So for those of you that are very new to leg locks, I'm going to explain the idea first. For those of you that are very experienced, like, oh, here comes basic. I always think it's important for even experienced practitioners in absolutely anything to sometimes just hear the basics again. Like, go find a book about whatever topic it is you like that's like elementary, like one of the For Dummies books, and like read the first chapter, even if it's something that you're a professional at. I think that sometimes just seeing the very basic ideas can be incredibly valuable to expert practitioners. So if you've been doing leg locks forever, great. Maybe all the stuff I'm going to say right now, you already know it yourself, you've told people, but nonetheless, listen, maybe you'll pick something up new, or it'll just give you a new framing for looking at it that you never thought of before. I do it all the time with things that I enjoy. So the saddle is a leg lock position. It's considered one of the most powerful ones, but I think the reason it's considered powerful is not for the reason that most people think. The way you finish is with a heel hook, but it's a very different heel hook. So the first thing I want to explain is a little bit about the body mechanics of what's happening to your knee here. So a lot of the finishes that are heel hooks involve twisting the foot in a circular direction while the knee isn't allowed to move, or while the upper leg isn't allowed to move. And so what happens is it's torquing your knee and tearing the ligaments that way. The heel hook done from the saddle is different, right? It is not a twisting motion in quite the same way. There is a twisting component to it, but the real motion is actually going to be a lateral press into the side of the knee, which attacks the ligaments on the opposite side of the knee. So in other words, instead of twisting, so the ligaments are like turning this way, it is directly pushing into the side and popping the ones on the inside of the knee. And so it's similar kind of almost to a certain degree like a knee bar, except the difference between it. So a knee bar, for those again who are inexperienced with leg locks, is a straight leg lock where I'm hyperextending the knee. But the issue with that is that the hamstring muscles behind, which are like the bicep muscles but of the leg, the hamstring muscles are what's resisting it. So as they're pulling my leg straight, I'm probably resisting by curling down. I'm using these giant muscles in the back of my legs, some of the strongest muscles in my body. When I'm having the force come in sideways onto my knee, I don't have any muscle backing that up. I'm using the ligaments on the inside of the knee to protect it, and it's not enough. So that's the concept we want to think of from the very beginning. As we look at this saddle position, that's the attack. Those of you that have done judo or any other martial art that involves a lot of throwing or even wrestling, they talk about don't sit in on the knee. What they mean by sitting in on the knee is when your hips get down here and go into the side of the knee, injuries happen all the time. So if in those sports that's what's going to cause an injury and we try to avoid it, In jiu-jitsu, yeah, that's what we're trying to do. We obviously don't want to blow out somebody's knee, but we want to put their knee in enough danger that they tap for the submission. So let's look at this out. Maya has her leg out here, and the difference, so just like every other leg position, can you just make sure we're in frame? Every other leg position, just like every other leg position, her leg is trapped between the two of mine, right? Her leg is trapped. Can you just put this leg out to the side, just so it makes it a little clearer? Her leg is trapped. So a normal ashigarami position, this foot is on this side, it's on the outside, and I have my foot up on the hip, right? Still this foot on the inside. We then have 50-50, where my leg is across, or double outside ashi, where my feet are across here. Here's where the saddle comes in. The saddle, my inside foot is not there. It can be in a couple places, we'll get there in a second. The outside foot comes over the top and on the inside. This is the key to the saddle, is this top foot over the top. This matters more than anything else. My other foot doesn't matter as much, my arms don't matter as much. This foot is everything. Let's get a little more details as well. My heel should be down heeling towards my own butt. I'm pinching my heel to my butt. She should feel her thigh getting compressed between my heel and my butt here. My knee should be as close to her chest as possible. If my knee is over here, first of all, the bite isn't going to be as good. And when she tries to push with her hands or her leg, yeah, it becomes easy to escape. When my knee is close to her chest, it's just not much room to get her hands on the inside, and certainly not enough room to get her other foot on the inside. So this is the real key, is this foot. The other leg, we're going to keep it really simple for today. There's a lot of complex ways we can do the other foot. I'm just going to reinforce my ankle with my other ankle. So in other words, I'm not going to go figure four. In fact, an argument can be made that figure four is weaker. I'm just going to have both heels pulling back. Maya here should feel like her leg is getting squished. And what really makes it hard for her is that the knee should be harder and harder to turn left and right because of how small this area is. All right, so now, we're not going to work on the finish yet. We're just going to work on the entry. But I want you to think about what the idea here is. This heel acts like the edge of, let's say, imagine I'm trying to break this stick with my hands. My left hand is symbolized by my left foot. My left foot is holding one end. The other hand is going to be held by the heel hook bite, right? A heel hook bite is the best way to do it. It's not even 100% necessary because, again, the way I'm breaking this is with a grip on either end and then snapping the middle like I'm breaking this over my knee. Any grip over here would actually work. I could do it with both hands. By far the best grip is my heel hook grip, but the idea is that I've got it locked here and I've got it locked here. And the finish is my hip pushing into the side of the knee. Notice how her foot popped out of the grip. I'm doing that so I can push forward without actually breaking Maya's leg, and we get the idea across. But that's what we're ultimately looking for. A grip at this end, a grip at this end, and then a break in the center. All right, so now let's work on a drill together. We're all going to start with ourselves in 50-50. So I've got my feet locked to the outside. Maya, for the moment, is not going to have her feet locked because it'll just be easier to do the drill. If she's locked up, I've got to make the space. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach down with my hands to grab the foot. And as my hands are holding onto the ankle, I'm going to pull my right foot in and my left foot over the top and down. And then lock everything in tight. Right, here we are. Don't go to the finish yet, just feel this position. And now Maya's job is to try and pull her leg out and to start pushing on my knee and doing everything she can. I just want to feel this position being nice and secure. Good, one more time. My feet are going to start on the outside. Both of them are outside, her feet are inside. I'm sorry, her feet are outside but not locked. And now we're going to swing to the inside. So I'm going to bring my right foot in. As I do that, I'm holding on to her leg. This is the moment when you're doing this for real that I have the least control over her leg. So my hands need to be involved. And then left foot inside, lock up our feet together. All right, so Jen, come on in. Maya, go for you. Stay where you were, Maya. Yep. And now go ahead, have a seat right there. Jen, I'll just make sure everything's still on the frame. Okay, and now go to 50-50, both of you right leg on the inside, but both of you unlocked. Good, all right. So now Jen, grip her foot on the inside with both hands. Good, turn towards me. Let your right foot fall to the inside. Let your left foot come over the top and reinforce it with the other foot and lock it down. Now Maya, resist and try to get out. Jen, bring your knee way closer to her chest. Yep, very good. And switch. Maya, you go to 50-50. And why don't we, yeah, we can do it. That's good. It'll show up from the other side. Okay, so now Maya reaches down and grabs the foot. She lets her right foot fall to the inside. She lets, you don't have to tuck the foot, Maya, just let your right knee drop to the mat. Like bring it back to the 50-50. Just let your right knee fall to the mat. Yup, it'll just dive inside. Now left foot goes over the top, inside, and then reinforce it with the other foot, And bring your knee into her chest. More, more, more. And now Jen, try to pull the leg out and then try to push on her knee as well. Yeah, exactly. All right, everyone, begin working on the drill on your own. We got 2.5 minutes. Everyone looks good. Okay. If you're by yourself, so the reason that I asked you guys to get something like a dowel or a broomstick or something like that is that we can work a lot of these drills the same way with a stick of some kind, right? So the idea is like if we imagine a straight leg, a lot of the same things can apply here. So we're here in our 50-50. From here, let it drop, fall inside, reinforce. It's all the same, right? If you realize here I am, I basically have, go underneath here. They don't have a heel, right? But I basically am here. I'm going to sacrifice one of our dowels to the cause here, but I'm right here. If I just bring my hips forward, bam, see? That would be someone's knee. Keep on going. Yep.
Didn't expect that.
No one expected that, except for me, because I'm relative.
Poor down.
Hey, look at that. I magically created his brother. Okay, keep on.
Sorry, we're still mesmerized.
Yes, I know. Yeah, it's the visual. 3/4 inch dowel. Yeah. So again, for those of you that are at home working on here we are, 50-50, right? Pass the foot to the inside, reinforce it. And I want you to feel this idea that if I were to shove, I'm not going to break another one, but if I were to shove my hips forward here, snap, it's going to break right here. That's exactly what we're doing when we attack the knee with the inside heel hook from a saddle position. By the way, for people out there who have other terms for it, the saddle is sometimes referred to as the inside senkaku, meaning a triangle on the inside of the legs, sometimes referred to the 4-11 position because one person's legs can be in a figure 4 and the other person's legs are straight out. Nice, yeah. Sometimes it's referred to as the honey hole. It's a terrible name. Thank you, 10th Planet. I think those are the main ones. 30 more seconds. Keep on going, guys. The goal is to start making this movement as smooth as possible. Yeah, if you have longer legs than your partner, watch your chin. Very easy to get knee kicked in it. Yes, I know. Figure that out on your own. Okay. And time. If you're in the middle of the drill, go ahead and finish it. Otherwise, listen up. So, one quick disclaimer here. If we have any of our kids students watching, this is a technique we don't teach in the kids class. We don't teach heel hooks in general in the kids class very often. Maybe the oldest, most advanced kids, the ones that are about to go into adult class, we'll start showing them because they can be kind of trusted with it. Heel hooks are dangerous. They are sharp submissions. They can be just as, like, you know, I've been doing them for a lot of years and I've never gotten a knee blown out, tap on wood. Most of my students, we've never had any catastrophic knee injuries in class ever. They can be done safely, they just need to be respected. And the main idea is that they don't hurt the way that most submissions do before the injury happens. It feels like this stretching sensation and then pop. So we have to be very careful with them. And so for any of the kids that are watching, when we're open again, you guys can come back out and train. You can't be throwing heel hooks on your training partners in class. This applies to the adults also. Like, you can do them, but it's really important that at least one of the two people in the exchange is pretty familiar with them, either offensively or defensively. If you know them well and you're attacking them, you can do them safely. If you know them well and you're being attacked with them, you know when to tap and how to escape better. So as long as one of the two people is kind of aware of them, you can do them at medium speed. If neither people are experienced with them, you just got to do them slow and carefully. So let's look at the finish. Maya, come on back. Jen, you can go check again, make sure we're looking good. So we're now just going to practice the end. So what you can do is you can transition to this from anything you want. You can do it from the 50-50 entry or wherever you'd like. And now what we're going to do, and then we're going to add a mini battle into the end of this, a little bit towards the ribbon.
Yep, you're perfect.
Okay. Is that, watch your chin, Maya. is that we're going to reach back here. So just like any other jiu-jitsu technique, there is a lot of complex levels to it, right? There's complicated setups using the second leg, transitioning to the, great. Let's keep it relatively basic. There's always things we can add to it to solve other problems. So this is the version we're going to look at right now. You're going to use your left arm, the inside arm, to just hold on to the leg. As we're moving our legs around, we need something to control their leg, or they pull it out from the very beginning. If I just start reaching back here, this might be a moment where Maya starts pulling her leg out. Yeah, go ahead, and I start losing it in the mid-transition. So we want it to be relatively seamless. I'm going to hold on here. Maya tries to pull this leg out. It's not going out. I'm then going to bring the wrist underneath, and we're going to drop the heel onto my wrist. Just like every other heel hook, I want to have the heel right on my watch. If I have it here, one of the things that Maya can do is point her toes straight, yep, and then twist her heel right to the inside, and it falls off the muscle. When I have it on the bone, she points her toes, and she twists, and it doesn't feel like it can go anywhere. When it's on the muscle, it pops right through because it's heel on the muscle and it's two soft surfaces. Here, it's a soft surface on a bone. It's not going anywhere. So, second hand helps, drops her heel onto my wrist. And now, underneath with the other palm. Now remember, if I start to twist, I certainly might get the submission. When I go this way, Maya, just roll with me a little bit. I start to twist, Maya goes with me, and we're on our way out. That's no good. So that's not the goal of this heel hook. The goal of this heel hook is to just keep everything where it is and to push my hips that way. Remember what happened with our dowel a minute ago, our poor dowel. He's dead over there. Okay, his brother's right here. So all I'm gonna do is slowly start pushing my hips forward. Maya's gonna tap when she feels it, and I want you guys tapping early on this one. Forward, 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 and she taps. You can't really see it, but the other thing I'm doing is I'm down heeling a little stronger. So again, holding one end, holding the other, snapping in the middle. Once again. So here we got into the saddle we just practiced. Other hand comes underneath the Achilles tendon, gripping onto this leg hard. Time to wrap and drop the heel onto your wrist. We can make that more efficient as you practice it. Palm to palm, rev the wrist, and then start pushing my hips forward. I get the tap. If you're not quite sure how to undo it with your hips, just open your hands. If you notice, this is a nice illustration of the power of this technique. Without my hands on it, if I just thrust the hips, watch your chin, I don't want to hit you. If I thrust the hips, look what happens to her leg, right? So if this foot couldn't move, all of that goes into the knee instead. This much room. No one's ligament has that much flexibility. Okay, let's practice it. Jen, come back in. And now let's actually, why don't you switch positions just so, yep. Maya can kind of be the one demonstrating on the camera. Okay, Maya, go ahead to the saddle. Same one you did before. Okay. And now, left hand grabs the ankle right there, just holding onto it securely. Good. Lift the leg up, wrap the toes, drop the heel, right? Palm to palm. And now very carefully, even with the size difference, you can blow out her knee. Push your hips forward towards the mirror. Yeah, that's it. That's all it takes. Yeah. And this is what many people will notice with practice. Go ahead, Jen, your turn. You can go to the other leg there. So now we'll kind of see from behind. You might not be able to see as much, but you might see the hip motion. Make sure the knee's in tight, nice and slow. So one of the things that makes this such a powerful submission is that because you're attacking such a small part of the body, and you're doing it with such a large part of your body, namely your hips and your back muscles, this is an incredible technique for smaller people against bigger people. Someone who is large, has big, strong leg muscles, the ligaments in the knee do not scale up the way that their quad muscles do. So a person who is way bigger than you, if you try to do a knee bar on them, they're going to leg curl you all the way back, and it's not going to work unless you get like a really deep body bite on it. But if you're doing this version of the heel hook and you do it on somebody way bigger than you, they're going to have to tap to it. They're going to feel it directly in the ligament. We saw this recently with Lachlan Giles and his finishes. He does it from a slightly different position in his version of the outside senkaku, he calls that, or I sometimes call it the inverted saddle. But the concept is the same. It's a bridge into the knee with a heel hook bite. Yeah, very nice. I forgot to start the timer, so let's assume it's at about a minute, and we'll do another minute and a half after that. Ignore the bell, everybody, when you hear it. I think you guys are going to try to inch back on the next one. No, it's fine. You can do it in the next one. Inch back this way. I think you're fine on Facebook, on Instagram. You're a little bit. Oh, so hopefully we have. Keep going, guys. Keep going. Hopefully, a lot of people there who are watching can hear this while you're repping, or if you're doing the drill by yourself, working with a stick or something, or just in the air. So we're going to be releasing in the next day or so our first in a series of what we call Intro to BJJ, Intro to Jiu-Jitsu videos. They're going to be not live videos. They're going to be on YouTube and elsewhere. And what it really is for is to like introduce Jiu-Jitsu to some people in your life who've never done it before. So maybe you've had maybe you're at home with somebody else, a roommate or a significant other or whatever, or kid and parent together, and one person does jiu-jitsu and the other person doesn't at all, and you know, as much as you've been trying to talk them into doing jiu-jitsu for the last 5 years, you haven't been able to. And this is meant to like slowly introduce them to a lot of the general concepts, what they need to know, hopefully to kind of like whatever misgivings they have about training might alleviate some of those. Some people have some bad misconceptions about it. Some of you people out there aren't helping by coming home and like telling these glory stories about I was at jiu-jitsu and this guy was trying to strangle me and I did all that, and they're like, yeah, no, I'm never ever doing that. Yeah, so hopefully a couple of these videos will help people. They're meant to be pretty light, a lot of humor put into them. They're just meant to kind of, this is what jiu-jitsu is and this is how you can enjoy it and start it at home. It might give some of you at home here the opportunity to work with somebody who's otherwise resistant. If you haven't already, please go to our YouTube channel, UWS Kenshikai, and subscribe. It'll tell you when the videos come out. We've also got some karate videos, some kind of quick concepts of the day, and all that. Everyone finishing up this drill. And time. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to work on what we call a mini battle. So mini battles, in case you aren't one of my students or haven't heard this described before, a mini battle is taking a very, very, very small part of jiu-jitsu, like a single position or a single bite or a single whatever, and work on it competitively. Where one person has a goal like stopping the other person and the second person has a goal of accomplishing something or getting to some other. And so many of you understand the idea of positional training. I'm trying to get to the mount, I'm trying to get to the back, I'm trying to pass the guard, whatever. That's like a slightly larger thing. Mini battling is taking something really small. So one of the things that can happen with all leg locks, and all submissions as well, but leg locks in particular, is that you get the position, you have the saddle nice and solid. And as you start to attack the foot, the saddle itself softens. The position gets weaker because your attention is going to your hands. And while your attention goes to your hands, they break the position up. So this mini battle is meant to kind of avoid that, that problem. So I'm gonna have Maya again in the saddle. And now my goal is to get from here to the heel hook bite. Not even the finish. I don't even need, let's move back to the left again. Not even to get to the finish, and also if we rep it with the finish, the risk of injury is higher. The goal is simply to get to this. If I can connect my palms, it's over, right? Try to not put the bridge in there at all, just again, to keep it safe. But the idea is we're gonna start from here, right? And I'm leaning forward. My goal is to reach back and get the foot, and Maya's job is to try and break the position while I'm doing that. Now this drill is mostly for me attacking. So Maya shouldn't come up with like some really good, so the main way that someone actually would defend this is as I'm reaching back, she's gonna turn and face the front door, turning her toes towards that way, right? And then start to point this and run straight. Don't do this full escape. This is very effective and it misses the point of what we're doing with the mini battle. The point here instead really is that Maya's gonna try and either push my knee past her knee line and or pull her leg out. And so it's teaching me to keep this leg locked in while I fish for this. So we're gonna start here, we give each other a high 5 or high 10, right? And then we go ahead. And she's trying to push on my leg, I'm trying to hold on to her, right? Very nice, man. And once I get to here, boom, we stop. A high 5 again, go, we go again. So I'm holding on to the position nice and tight, and I reach back. Go ahead, keep pushing on that. Yeah, right. Go ahead, get your leg out, get your leg out, right. And that time she succeeds, she got further out. So that's the goal, is just trying to get this bite while keeping the saddle nice and tight. Come back in, Jennifer. And Maya, you'll go on offense first. Okay. Good. So those of you at home, again, if you have a partner, you'll do that with them. If not, you can go ahead and watch what's going on out here. But mainly, they're just going to be working on their own. And we'll switch who's doing what every 30 seconds. Very nice. Keep going, Maya. You're still on offense. And remember, sometimes these mini battles, these drills are really for one person or the other. This drill, very good. Yeah, nice. Also, Jen, tuck your thumb into the knee to make it a little more potent. Your escape. So the idea here is to is that the person who is defending and resisting, your job is to keep giving them new problems to solve, keep them working on keeping it tight and all of that. Yeah, very nice. Very good, Maya. Yeah. And drop it right now. Boom. Yep, lift it up. Very good. Oh, yeah, almost good. Person who's defending can also start turning your heel. As I said, just don't do a big dramatic switch. All right, switch rolls. Other person's up. I'm guessing you might need to move to the right, but maybe not. No, you're fine. You're good. No, yeah, her knee was already almost past her knee line. Make sure you have push. Yeah. Nice, Maya. Good, good, good. Yeah. Jen, a little more pinch and try not to roll to your back at all. You want to, in fact, roll over the leg more. Go ahead. Yep. Nice. Yeah. Again, please, everybody, again, someone who was watching before might still be watching, Alex Eklund, he described this great. He said heel hooks are like the pit bull of the jiu-jitsu world. That when you mistreat them, and this might be leg locks in general, but definitely the heel hook, when you mistreat them, they get a bad rep. But the idea in general is that they can be fantastic, they can be great, they can be your most useful ally if you treat them well. Go ahead, switch roles again. Now you're attacking again, I think. Yep. Go ahead. Cool. Very nice. Now, good at the end. Yep. Go ahead. Good. And last set of 30 seconds. Go ahead, Jen, you're on offense. Yep, last one. Very good. Very nice. Yep, good escape, man. Very nice. Last couple. And time. Very good. All right. Is this scheduled to go till 6 or 6:15?
6, you're at time.
What's that? Okay. So, sneak myself back onto the mat. So feel free, those of you that are at home, spend the last, so that was 45 minutes, right? And so we keep the class to that length online here just because there is no rolling in it. I'm not going to be like, oh, roll, and just stare at the camera even though I can't see you guys. That'd be silly. So instead, if you'd like, feel free to go do some rolling. We looked at, just to, I like to review it at the end just to kind of keep it fresh in your head, right? We looked at the idea behind the saddle position. We looked at kind of contrived entry into the saddle off of the 50-50. That's not an entry that you'll use that much. The idea is just to kind of be aware of how your legs are configured in one position versus the other. And so going into the saddle from that. Next class, maybe we'll hit a couple of entries into it. The standing one that you saw Jennifer practicing before class, the one from regular Ashi Garami that you saw Maya practicing in the open part of class. Those are both entirely legitimate, like active entries you would use in rolling. We then worked on the mechanics of the heel hook finish from the inside of the saddle. There are other finishes, right? You have a straight ankle lock, you have toe holds, you have things like that. The heel hook with that bridging into the knee is by far the most effective one, and the most powerful one. Like it'll scale up to bigger people. And then we worked on mini battling that setup and working on kind of trying to keep the position strong while we're going into the entry. And this is something that I think we should work on with all of our leg locks, is this idea of when you go into a position. I have noticed that the better natural athletes, I am not necessarily one of them, are able to, when they go into a position, when they go to the next part, their body just stays in that position. Fantastic for them. Many of us don't have that ability. We got to think about it. We have to make sure that we kind of make our body do that. If you are one of them, or even if you're not, practice that. Practice this idea of going into a position and then maintaining it when you try to do something else. This will apply to the mount and side control and everything else as well. So thank you very much. Please go to our YouTube channel to subscribe. Listen to Jennifer for a second, finishing up with a couple comments.
So for Upper West Side BJJ students who are watching us, we just want to thank you again for all of your support, both financial and emotional. We need both, so it is greatly appreciated. And for those of you who are not members of UWS BJJ, we are accepting donations on our website at www.uwsKenshikai.com. You'll see up in the upper right, I believe, a donate button. There is no too small amount. This is our job right now. This is what we do. If you don't want to donate to us, donate to your schools, your dojos, your friends' dojos. Just send $5 to that dojo down the street. This is how we all keep going. So any donation to us, to your school, to your friend's school, to that dojo you watched on YouTube. By the way, if you guys have dojos, if you have gyms, and you want us to share the videos that you're putting out, please send us an email, send us a message us on Instagram or Facebook. We're happy to share the stuff that you're putting out. We're all in this together, guys. Keep it up.
Yeah, so that's a great point. You know, this is not the time for us to, you know, different dojos and gyms to be in competition with each other, to be trying to like beat each other out. We want this whole industry to survive this situation. I don't want to hear about a single school closing down. I don't care if it means I get more students out of it. I don't want to hear that at all. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for everyone to be able to get themselves back to training and for all the schools to be there when we get there. So the schools I train at and Jennifer trains at and the ones that all of you go to throughout the entire world. So thanks again. Nice. Awkward run to the camera to hit finish.